Welcome back. All right, so a little bit of NHL fantasy talk today as I continue taking a look at just different stats, different numbers, and this kind of thing, and looking at high shooting percentage, and then some notables who had a low shooting percentage, and looking at whether or not that's normal for their career. Shooting percentage is one of those ones that it is difficult to project from one year to the next how it's going to work. And Andrei Kuzmenko, there's a lot of discussion about his 39 goals last year and can he hit 40. The thing is, his shooting percentage was 27.3%, which means that's his career shooting percentage. It was his first NHL season. But that is way too high. 27.3% is way too high. The odds of him having that high of a shooting percentage again is low. Therefore, if he's going to hit 40 goals, he's going to have to take a lot more shots. So, Harvey Pinard is on the board. He was 24.1% on his 14 goals. Career 23.4% because he did have 4 games played the previous season. That drags his shooting percentage down. I do not think Harvey Pinard's gonna score at a 24.1% rate again. Braden Point's an interesting one. He had 51 goals, 21.7% shooting. Over his career, he's been at 18%. So if you're of the mind that, yeah, Point had 51 goals, but maybe he's going to drop to 40, 45, the shooting percentage would tell you that's probably true. Although, again, if he takes more shots and there's more lower quality shots, maybe he still ends up at 50. Pavel Buchnevich, 26 goals for him, a 21.1% shooting percentage. In his career, 15%. So this is where it gets tricky. Buchnevich clearly has really good chemistry with the Blues. If you think that can continue, you can say, you know what, he'll probably score at the same rate. But if you think he's more likely to fall to his career average of that 15% or close to it, then his goals scored per game is going to go down, right? Draisaitl, 52 goals for him, a 21.1% shooting percentage as well. In his career, 18.1%, so 3% above his career average. And so betting on Draisaitl to maybe score at a little bit of a lower rate, not really that much of a stretch, is it? Scheifele stands out to me. He had 42 goals, 20.4% shooting percentage. But over his career, it's been 16.8%. And for Scheifele, I would not be surprised to see him more in the 30-35 goal range next season. I think this was his first ever 40-goal season. I don't know if he gets back there again. Roope Hintz had 37 goals, 20.1 shooting percentage over his career. It's been 16.5%. So with Hintz, the interesting thing is that, of course, he's a younger player. Maybe 20% is more manageable there, but betting on him to drop a little bit, I think that could very well be the case. Then you get into the low shooting percentages, and what you learn is there are players who've had just low shooting percentages throughout their career. So Kucherov, 30 goals this past season, 11.1% shooting. Over his career, 14.5%. So Kucherov, a good bet for a bounce back this coming season. Nathan MacKinnon's an interesting one. 42 goals and 11.5 shooting percent. In his career, 10.3%. So lots of shots from Nathan MacKinnon. But that's where it's interesting that both MacKinnon and Scheifele had 42 goals. The difference in shooting percentage is remarkable, meaning that McKinnon's is likely more. McKinnon's going to be more likely to keep that up than Scheifele. So there you go. Matthew Tkachuk, 12.4% for his 40 goals, and his career 13.2%. So he's right around his average in his career. Is that sustainable? Yep. Erik Karlsson, interestingly enough, had 25 goals, 12% on his shooting percentage, but over his career, 6.9% shooting. So again, Karlsson had 25 goals, more than likely drops this coming season. And the 101 points, that probably drops too. The real tricky part is figuring out by how much, since he's going to be playing on a Pittsburgh team that could have a really good power play with himself and Crosby, Malkin, Gensel. That could help to prop things up. Crosby, 33 goals, 12.9% shooting. Over his career, it's been 14.5%. However, Crosby's on the wrong side of 35. And so the odds of his shooting percentage going up, I don't think it's that high. I think it probably drops off this year. Time is undefeated, so we'll see if that does happen with Crosby. Matthews, 40 goals, 12.2% on the shooting side of things. His career average is 15.7%. I've been saying all summer, Matthews is a good bet for a bounce-back season, probably more into the 50-goal range this coming year. Brady Tkachuk has a low shooting percentage, apparently shoots from everywhere. He has 35 goals, 10.1% on the shooting side of things, but in his career, 9.4%. So again, with both of the Tkachuks, Is it a matter of they just shoot a bunch, that's how they play, or is there room for improvement on the accuracy side, which is scary with Matthew Tkachuk because he's already one of the top scoring players in the league. Evgeny Malkin this past season, for his 27 goals, he had 11.3% shooting. In his career, 13.5%. With Malkin, I would say the same thing as Crosby. Betting on his numbers getting better at this stage, with his birth certificate telling you what it tells you, odds are he's probably going to drop off a little bit more. Kyle Connor could be a good bounce back candidate. 31 goals, 11.4% shooting, 14.5% shooting in his career, and he's young. I think he bounces back. Barkov is another one to look for a bounce back from, the goal scoring wise. 23 goals, 11.1% on the shooting side of things. 13.8% is his career average. I would say Barkov can get back to 30 easily. Ovechkin. Ovechkin's never been one that has had great shooting accuracy. He just shoots a lot. And when they hit the net, they almost go through the twine. So 14.3% was his shooting percent this year for 42 goals. Interestingly enough, in his career, his shooting percentage is 12.9%. So he's just shooting less overall than he normally does. Johnny Gaudreau, 9.6% shooting in his 21 goals. In his career, 12.5% has been his shooting percent average. So I would guess Gaudreau bounces back as well. His shooting percentage should come up, so if he gets the same amount of shots on net, he's a good bet to get up near 30 goals as well. Now, if you're in a fantasy league that has anything to do with faceoffs, why not? We talk about the guys with the most faceoff wins. Bergeron, who's retired, 1,043 wins, 61.1%. In terms of his winning percentage. So by him retiring, some of the other guys on the board will see their winning percentage go up. Crosby, 978 faceoff wins for 53% overall. Horvat, 958 faceoff wins for 56.9% overall. Kopitar, 899 faceoff wins for 55.9%. Hischier, 891 faceoff wins for 53.9%. And Lindholm, 857 face-off wins for 55.7%. The interesting thing here, of course, is Bergeron being the Selke winner various times. But Crosby, good two-way forward. Horvat's been praised for his two-way play in recent seasons. Kopitar, one of the best two-way forwards in the game. He's sure seen as an upcoming two-way forward that could win Selkes himself. And Lindholm gets Selke consideration at times as well. Maybe face-off wins have a lot to do with it. Maybe we pay attention to that and go, guys controlling the game. Now, when we look at points per 60 minutes, and it's important to look at points per 60 minutes to kind of look for a player that... now, this is where it gets tricky. So the number one player amongst high scorers is McKinnon with 3.28. Then you've got Skinner at 3.13. And so the question then becomes, so is Skinner not being played enough where he could get to, say, 100-plus points? Or does this mean that Buffalo knows exactly how to play Jeff Skinner to get maximum return out of him? Pastrnak, 3.09. Matthew Tkachuk and Tage Thompson also have 3.09 points per 60 minutes on the ice. And Pettersson in Vancouver, 3.05. Interestingly enough, McDavid's 33rd with 2.71, and Sidney Crosby's 37th with 2.66. So they play a lot. A lot of faceoffs for Crosby. McDavid's just on the ice a ton. And so that will drag down their points per 60 minutes just a little bit. Now with shootouts, so if you look at shootouts, Freddie Gaudreau's the guy. 8 goals on 13 opportunities for Minnesota this past season. And then you've got a bunch with 5 goals. Starting with Jason Robertson, 5 out of 7. Nick Suzuki was 5 out of 7 as well. Kuznetsov was 5 out of 6. So Kuznetsov, despite all the talk about his contract and wanting to be traded potentially and his numbers being down, he's still money on the shootout. Duchesne was 5 for 7, so Duchesne and Robertson, that's a good sign for Dallas fans. Zuccarello was 5 out of 13. Kaprizov was 5 out of 11. The surprise on that one might be Kaprizov taking 2 less shootout opportunities than did Zuccarello. That's a bit of a surprise to me. Now, quality starts and quality start percentage. Ullmark, 42 out of 48 this past season for 87.5%. He's not going to hit that again. Gustafson in Minnesota was 27 out of 37 for 73%. We've got two at 70%. Samsonov in Toronto, 28 out of 40. Sorokin with the Islanders, 42 out of 60. Bit of a surprise, Samsonov and Sorokin have the same number there. So this is the number of times that a goaltender is a safe percentage above 900 in a game. Korpisalo, 25 out of 37, 67.6%. The noteworthy part with Korpisalo being a lot of those games being in Columbus. So he gave Columbus really good quality goaltending, and Hellebuck 43 out of 64 for 67.2%. What stands out with Hellebuck? 64 starts. It's a lot. Shesterkin's actually 34th with 35 out of 58 being quality starts for 60.3%. And Vasilevsky's 35th. 60% of his starts were quality starts. 36 out of 60 there. So they're just numbers to look at. You guys can decide what you think. Use them how you want. And this is a good indicator of, you know, who might have had a career year last year, might have a hard time keeping that up, and then players who, you know, their shooting percentage was a little bit low, it should come up. And again, unless your name's Tkachuk, maybe it's just a matter of they shoot from all over the ice. That's their game, and you don't want to mess with what works. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.